Hello and welcome to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Nina Adio, a social media marketing expert specific to the wedding industry. On this show, I discuss tips to help you DIY your social media, as well as getting the confidence and income to outsource it. Thank you for allowing this episode to come through on your Bluetooth, your car radio, wherever it may be you're listening from today. Now, let's take your wedding business to the next level. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. I'm glad to have you here on this podcast. I work with wedding professionals to get your ideal clients and get more business than you ever thought possible. Yes, how do you like that for a hook? I'm testing it out. Let me know. So today, what I really wanted to talk about is the why, and there's two different meanings to the why. There is your why you are in your business, why you do what you do, and then there is your ideal client's why are they booking you, why you for them. Okay, so those are the things I want to talk about today. But I would like to mention that this is episode 46 of the podcast and day 13 of our 30 days of posting in a row. So I've been posting every day. We're almost at the halfway point. So I did put up a poll on my Instagram or some questions up in my stories to get some questions that you guys would like answered. So I've been enjoying seeing your responses so far. And I have a big announcement I'm going to be dropping on Monday. So you will want to make sure that you are following me at I Do Wedding Marketing on Instagram and here on the podcast, because those are the two places that I will be dropping that news first. But now let's get into the why. And why is so important because it kind of dictates for me the structure of your copy, of your business, and of your selling process. It's really important that we identify why you offer what you do to brides and grooms. Okay, so let's just let's just go for a really, I'm going to pick a wedding profession and then we're just going to why through this. Okay. So, why would somebody want a wedding DJ? Because they want their guests to be entertained. Why do they want their guests to be entertained? Because they want their wedding to be memorable. Why do they want their wedding to be memorable? Because it's the most important day of their lives. Just keep asking yourself these whys, and then you're going to integrate that into your selling strategy. I would even pull reviews that express that they received these elements into my marketing. So if I see a review that says all of my guests are still talking about how much fun they had, I'm going to pull that review and make it as prominent as possible, because that's our why. Why are you booking us? Because we want your guests to have as much fun as possible. Let's think and brainstorm of some others that we can do. I really think this is something you could do with your sales team, especially venues who have more teams, more people rather, and just say, why should somebody have a wedding here, and see how they answer. And then with that first answer, go why again, and then again, and then again, and see what they come up with, and see what you guys are able to come up with together to identify as your why. And everybody in your company, whether you're a venue, DJ, etc., if you have people representing you, they all should know what that primary why and focus is. And that is what really they should have a hyper focus on through the events. The next why I want to get into is why you are in business. But before I do that, I do want to remind you that this podcast is sponsored by Your Real Wedding Photos Club. This is a photo and video membership specifically for wedding pros. Every month, subscribers receive 100 real royalty free wedding photos, okay, and 10 videos monthly straight to your inbox. And you can use that for your content, for your social media, for your email blasts, etc. So this is a great way to get a stock photo membership that's going to be really hyper focused for what you need. So you can learn more about that in the show notes or at idoweddingmarketing.com/sponsors. I think that every business has a why. It kind of is your wedding business origin story, just like a superhero or supervillain. They all have those fascinating origin stories. Maybe it's not as fascinating as me being dumped in the sewer as a baby and growing up to be a penguin man of the sewer, but we can still come up with some compelling origin stories for our whys. And the why is the driving force behind your business. If you don't know why you do it, then how are you even here? Right, then you're just going through the motions, and that's not a passion fueled job, right? So let's get inspired by reconnecting with our why. My why for my business is I really love the process and the behind the scenes of weddings with the team of vendors who make it happen, and my passion is connecting those vendors with the brides who need their services. That is just my passion and my why. So, what is yours? Why do you do what you do? Let's say you're a photographer, you could do photos for anybody, right? You could do commercial photos, you could do still photography. There's a lot of different routes you could go. How did you fall into weddings? I worked with one fantastic photographer, Brian Jarrow, in Louisiana, and it was clear that the interactions he had with not only the couple but the wedding guests was his why. So he used to do more of product photography and commercial photography, but doing weddings almost allowed him to be an entertainer while shooting weddings as well. And he really excelled in working with couples who were shy and didn't know how they were going to come out of their bubble to not only have their photo taken, but to be the center of attention on their wedding day. And Brian really excelled with making those couples comfortable, getting great photos of them, and just making them feel great and not awkward being the center of attention. So that was a really fascinating why. Think about how you got to doing what you do and where weddings fell into it and where that passion came from. This is not something I want you to know just for your own sake, but because it is part of your story and part of your connection with your couples. When Brian would get a review, very often they would say, I felt so self conscious before my wedding, but as soon as I interacted with Brian and his personality, my guard was down. I was able to pose and not think, and I loved the experience. So, not only are they loving their photos, but they're loving the experience and how they felt while their photo was taken. When I would get those reviews, that's what I would want to showcase, because that was really the legacy Brian was leaving with his photos, is the level of comfort people were able to have. And it's interesting because before he was doing weddings, he was shooting models, these gorgeous models, and he is able to make anybody feel the way he makes those models feel. So that was something really, really cool. For one venue I worked with, part of their why is that was their family legacy. Their family legacy was making your family's magical moments happen. What could yours be? We can brainstorm this a bit more together, but it's really about your brand identity mixed with your own personal passion of what got you there. So you're kind of telling the story, or like I said, the origin story of your business and specifically how you got into the industry that you were in. I think we covered it there, guys. I'm not going to keep rambling, even though maybe the rambling is part of my why. I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to think that over. But don't forget that we are brought to you by Your Real Weddings Photo Club, which will be linked in the show notes. And then I will be back tomorrow with another episode here of the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. If you enjoyed what you were listening to and identifying your brand's why, be sure to leave a review so that I know you are listening and getting value from this podcast. I will see you tomorrow, guys. Bye bye.